Thank you for joining us for yet another session about how to invest and multiply money. Please make sure that you share, you like, these videos. Call other people also to listen in, Give them so that they also get to know we are in a generation where investing is very, very important. So in our first session, we looked at what is investing and all that. We are now going to focus on considerations before you invest. You realize that there are several investment opportunities, but what should one consider? People have lost money and people are yet to lose money. Why? Because they've not sat down to consider some elements, some few key elements that must be looked into before you put your cast, your seed, or before you put your seed into any soils. Remember, I told you that a seed, is anything whatsoever. It can be time, money, energy, and all that. The soil are the hands of people. You are going to sow in individuals. You are going to sow in companies. You are going to sow in organizations. You are going to sow in government. Wherever you are going to sow, there are people there. So you are sowing your seed into the soils of people. So what do you consider? Let us look at the considerations. Number one should do a proper due diligence. What do we mean by doing due diligence? You need to take time to know about the soils, to know about the people. Where are you going to invest? Is it a company? What is its status? Is it an individual? Do you know that even individuals, the risk component attached to a married person may be different attached to a single? So you need to know the status of the entity you are going to invest in. You need to take time to know in depth today, what type of organization is this? Who is the individual? What are the people? What are their qualities? Because it is not money that manages people. It is people that manage money. So you need to know the kind of people you are going to entrust your money with. What is their strategic intent in terms of vision, mission, values? What are they focusing? Where you're going to put your money? Even if it is in the stock exchange, even though a company is listed, it doesn't mean that listing is being that is the best of all companies where you can put your money. You need to know their strategic intent, their vision, their mission, their values. What kind of persons are these? You need to understand the products and services they are delivering. Where are they going to deploy or to put your money for you to get a return? Is quite important. Otherwise, you'll put in a company whose products the market tastes and preferences are going down, and you leave a company whose products and services, whose tastes and preferences are going up. So you need to take time to know about that. You need to know about their operations. How do they do business? Wherever you're going to invest, what are the operations in there? What are their inputs? What is the processor? What's the output? How do they conduct business? What is the experience have they had in this business? Is quite important. Many people have put their money in the hands of people who are just experimenting. And you realize that savings are not for experimenting. If you invest your savings, you always want a return. So it's always important to know what kind of experience do these people have. Even if it's an organization, how long has it been in business? Even if it's a listed company, what is it doing? How long has it been there? What is the past, the history about this company? What is their credibility is quite important. Many people have lost money because of investment excitement. You hear this makes money, you just jump in and you lose money. That's very, very wrong. You also need to know their partners and connectivity. This company, this person, this soil where I'm going to put my money, how is it connected? Who are the other partners? Who do they deal with? What is their connectivity? Those 4 soils were very important. The stone, very hard. The thorn, the path. All those soils are there in people. Yes, there are some companies which are too trendy to the extent that they don't even mind the exposure they are going into, so long as what they are doing is trendy. But not everything that is trendy is worth to invest in. Some are very short term. So you need to know their partnerships, their connectivity, okay? You need to understand that. So due diligence is very, very, very important. Even when you're going to do an investment, take an example, land. You need to go and find out the ownership. You need to go and find out from the neighbors. You need to go and do external checks. You need to do a lot to make sure that you invest your money appropriately. So number 1 is do proper due diligence. Take time and do your research. Do your homework about where you're going to put your money. In which soil, what type of soil, because there are many soils. Even sand is soil. But does it yield crops? Doesn't. So which means even in the hands of men, there are some that are sand which may not yield a return from your investment. Number 2, you need to check today in the investment areas we are going to invest in. You need to check on ESG compliance. What do we mean by ESG? E stands for environment, S stands for social, and G stands for governance. Wherever you're going to invest, for you not to lose your money, make sure you first study where I'm going to invest. Is this entity or is this company, okay, compliant with the environment? Don't they do things which are destroying the environment in terms of pollution, carbon emission, water pollution, any form of pollution? If where you're going to invest your money, okay, whatever they are doing is going or it damages the environment, please just know that that investment is very wrong, because such a company's survival is highly doubted. So environment, wherever you're going to put your money, check if you are going to put your money in what damages, in what affects the environment. Please, you are not going to reap anything. Number 2 is social. Is this entity taking care of communities, people's rights? Do they understand the value of people? If where you're going to put your money, that entity does not understand the value of people, please don't put there your money, because its survival is very, very, very limited. Do they abuse employees? Do they abuse rights of people? Do they treat people anyhow? Because as we've seen, that wealth is in people. So if someone is not respecting, valuing people, then how is he going to give you a return? So social is looking at communities, people. How does this entity has value for people? Do they respect people? Do they honor people? Do they put value in people? Because as I've told you, even as we've said, that money is in the fish and the people are the fish. So if someone that is not taking care of people, then be very careful. Don't put your money there. You lose it. And lastly, the G is about governance. How is this entity governing or steering its operations? Here we are talking about the tools, the disciplines they are using to manage the entity. Many people have lost their money because of the board of directors, okay, not being ethical, not having values. Here we're talking about Christian values, the values of Christ, the values of transparency, the values of accountability, the values of understanding and appreciating diversity and inclusion. God hates sin, but he loves sinners. It is sin that hates, so we should always deal with sin, because the Bible tells us that we have all sinned and fallen short of God's mark. So, if you check that where you're going to put your money, people or those who are managing the entity, okay, are not having the disciplines, the governing tools on how to run this entity, please don't put your money there. You will lose it. So, number 2 is to check on the ESG compliance. Today, ESG is very, very important, because in the sustainable development goals, you realize that ESG compliance is very key if we are going to attain those sustainable development goals. Number 3, if you are going to invest, do what we call a risk analysis. We'll be talking about risk, but let me briefly talk about what is risk. Risk is any uncertainty that causes concern. Any uncertainty that causes concern. In other words, if you're going to put your money somewhere and you realize that there is something which you're not very sure of, take time and study about it. Risk is that which deters us to achieve our objectives. And you realize that in every investment, there are 2 sources of risk. There is the internal and the external. The internal, those are the risks or the uncertainties that come out of the investment vehicle that you have used internally. It can be either company, it can be wherever you've put your money. You need to know what are some of either financial, strategic, operational, what risks, what uncertainties can fail or can come in between to hinder your investment. Number 2, it can be external. Here, before you invest, look at what other external factors that can affect. Take an example, politics. When you invest in an area which has a high inclination on political either affiliations, political views, it will be very hard for you to invest well. Look at the economic situations around. Today, post-COVID, many people's tastes and preferences are changing. What used to make sense does not make sense. The economies, what are people putting time into is quite important. You need to look at elements of technology. You can invest or you can put money in an investment which has a technological component on it. And as technology changes, your investment becomes obsolete. It becomes of no use. You need to look into things of Lego. You need to look into things of competition. All these are areas that can carry a component of uncertainty in them. Is where you are putting your money more inclined on natural calamities? Just take an example. You put your money in an agricultural product, but you've not studied very well the climate, the conditions. What do you expect? Anything can happen. And because of global warming, we realize that seasons have changed. Where we expected rain, it's not there. And where we did not expect, it's there. So you realize that there are many natural calamities that can happen. So you need to make sure that you do a risk analysis. Where can uncertainties come from in my investment that I may not know of? Are they external or are they internal? So you have to look at that and analyze and see. It's very, very important Today, many people have put their money in ventures whose livelihood is coming negative, and they are losing money. Yes, that's very true. Most of the things which are against the will of God are now losing value. That's why I realize that many people have lost money. They are putting money into things whose time has come to an end, instead of putting money into things whose time is coming to. Take an example. Today, we are in a generation of knowing, of knowledge. Any investment in knowledge, any investment in knowing, you have to know your God, you have to know your money, you have to know yourself, you have to know Christ, it's a generation of knowing. So every investment in knowing is very, very important, because the times for ignorance have come to an end. The third element that one needs to consider before they invest is to check the reality of the return. Check the reality of the return. People get excited. Many investment houses have promised returns that are beyond understanding. But how do you check this? Before you invest, check around for the inflationary rate. Check around for the economic growth rate. Check around for the different rates. Take an example, borrowing and lending rates. Because if someone is giving you a return, okay, which is beyond even the borrowing or the borrowing rate, or even the rate at which the growth of the economy is growing, you question it. Where are you investing this money to get a return of such a portion that is beyond even the growth of the rate of the economy in which you are investing? Is it real? Because many people have got excited. Someone tells you, if you give me dollars, $100,000, I'll pay you a return of 5%. 5%. When you go to LIBOR, you find that even the offer rates are not 5%. So where is this person going to invest this money? Those are some of the things to question, because the rate is too good to be true. You need to question it. Many people have got excited. Someone has 100,000 and they want to double it in 1 week. Someone tells you, I'll give you 100%. Where is he going to invest this money? Unless otherwise, he's just looking to get your capital and run away with it. That's why many people have lost their capital and earnings. Why? Because the reality of the return is not real. It's not real. Please check wherever you're going to invest. The return they are promising you, is it real or it's not? So many people have lost their money because of the attractive return, which are not real. Always make sure you check the reality of the return. Many people have given away their money and they have cried, because we have cancelled many. Okay, when they tell you somebody promised me this, somebody promised me that, and you ask yourself, really, did you think about where is he going to put this money? What basis did you consider for you to give him this money? And the basis was the return. He promised me 100%, 50%, 70%. That's not real. Please, investments grow over time. If you're a person who wants sudden and surprise growth, then it will be so bad. It's very biblical. The principle of seed, time, and harvest will always be. Which means if you put a seed in the soil, it has to take time. And how do people manipulate time? By promising unrealistic returns. Someone tells you, no, 3 months, I'll give you 75% return. So you ask yourself, in 3 months, where is he going to get the 75%? So please check the reality of the return. The other element that you need to consider before you invest your money is liquidity and convertibility. What does this mean? If you're going to invest your money anywhere, first check how liquid is this investment. Will I be able to get access to my money wherever I need it? That's very, very important, because as we've seen, that risks, uncertainties, problems, okay, shocks, calamities, they befall us anytime. So you need to invest somewhere where you will know that it can be easy for you to convert your investment into cash. That is convertibility. How easy can you convert this investment to cash is quite important. We need to have liquid assets, we need to have illiquid, we need to have short term, we need to have long term, we need to have a mixture of these investments where you have near cash. Liquid. Is the investment liquid? Because you realize that as people today, we have a problem where people are asset rich but cash poor. Why? Because their investments, they did not, or as they were investing, they did not consider the cash flow. Is your investment liquid enough to bring you money? Because at the end of it all, we need to survive. We need the day to day. And that is all about liquidity. Anytime an opportunity can come and you need to convert or to liquidate your asset, to liquidate your investment and get that opportunity. But because where you invested your money is very illiquid, you cannot get that opportunity. So as you're going to invest, make sure you consider, is it liquid? Is it convertible? Can I be able to convert my asset into cash? Even if when it is land. Today, in our economy, we have a problem where people have invested a lot of cash into land. Where you find someone has a lot of land but is sleeping angry. He does not have money. But he has invested a lot of land there. Where you find people have built buildings, huge buildings, but the cash flow that comes out of this is very minimal. Those are some of the elements that we need to look into. The investments are not wrong, but their return or their degree of liquidity and convertibility is very, very minimal. How easily can you convert your investment into liquid or cash is important. So you need always to check, is your investment providing cash flow? Is it easily to convert? Can you be able to go and get money out of it? Is very important. Today, it does not make sense to have a lot of non-performing assets as your investments. It's better you have one asset which is performing, which has a cash flow, other than having all these illiquid assets which are not producing anything. Please, you better revisit the kind of assets or the kind of investments you've done. If any investment is not bringing in money, please check it. Check it. It wouldn't be very good to continue with that investment. The other element one needs to consider is the regulatory and legal requirements. Wherever we are going to invest, there is a government's hand. There is a regulator's hand in that industry. In every industry you're going to invest in, there is always a regulator. So you need to check, what are the regulations in that industry? What are the legal requirements? What does it require me to put, or that I need to have in order to qualify to put my money in that industry? Many people have lost money whereby the regulators of the industries in which they have put money in have come up with stringent regulations, and it has cost them a lot. And some are even closing, Others have even sold off. Others have got frustrated. Why? Because they did not first consider the regulatory requirements or legal requirements for them to stay relevant in those investment areas or industries they are in. So it's quite important for one to sit down and check, what are these requirements? I've gone in this investment. What does it require in this industry for me to stay there, or for my investment to stay relevant and be fruitful in the season that I've put it in there? So those are some of the considerations that we need to look into. There are of course many, but please, today's investments require us to look into those considerations if we are going to multiply our money, if we are going to invest well. Please don't be an investor who is excited. We are in turbulent times. Times are very volatile because the seasons have changed, although many people have not yet realized this. What happens is that the game may not have changed, but the rules of the game have changed in making money. That's very, very true. And many people, why they have not yet made money is because they have not sat down to read the new rules of making money. Do you know that knowledge is the new money today? Knowledge is the new money. The more you know, the more you make money. So what does that mean? One needs to sit down and first get knowledge before they go into making money. The game is still the same, but the rules have changed. And we need now to sit down and first master the rules for us to invest well. Please be very careful. Many people are losing money because they are investing in areas where the time has come to an end, instead of investing in areas where the times are just new and opening. I wish you the best as you invest your money. Please consider all those elements and make sure that you invest well. Don't just get excited. Please, you can call for advice. Okay, it's quite important before you invest your money in anything. Otherwise, I wish you the best, and I know God will continue to bless us as we get the new rules of the game as we make money in Jesus' name. God bless you.